They started with Ninja Gaiden 4.
Yep.
Look, I couldn't react the way I normally would because this was during work and I was in the office.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be 100% real with you. If this was one of the days where we worked from home, I might have just straight up
Mm-hmm.
closed my laptop and cut on the TV and stopped working and just watched this.
That's real. That's real.
Or I probably wouldn't have done that, but I would have thought about it. um, but yeah, so I was watching it while I was working, and I got distracted. I was barely working when I was watching this. I tried, but it was just I was too excited, especially once they revealed this part of it. But I predicted it because it was so obvious. Weeks before the event, they said they would be revealing a new game from a Japanese studio, and I was like, it has to be Ninja Gaiden because the Ninja
Mm-hmm.
Gaiden game started as Xbox exclusives, and because of that, most people associate them with Xbox. So it has to be Ninja Gaiden. There was no guarantee; it could have been Resident Evil for all I knew, but it wasn't. It was Ninja Gaiden 4 as I suspected, and I was so happy. What was a surprise, however, is that it's being developed in conjunction with Platinum Games. That's the reference I was making
Mm-hmm.
earlier when I mentioned how Phantom Blade Zero is taking inspiration from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance and Ninja Gaiden, and this is a Ninja Gaiden game being made by the people that made Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Um,
Yep.
and Xbox is publishing this game, which is also a big surprise, an interesting decision, but it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's dive deeper into what was revealed in the showcase and the
Mm-hmm.
accompanying Xbox Wire blog post. So, Ninja Gaiden 4 introduces a new protagonist named Yakumo. The head of Team Ninja, Yuji Nakao, said, "Since it's been a while since the last game, we wanted a new hero to make the series more approachable for new players. Of course, we
Mm-hmm.
also wanted longtime fans to enjoy the game, so Ryu Hayabusa plays a significant role in the story, serving as a major challenge and growth milestone for Yakumo. Ryu will appear throughout the game and be playable, ensuring his prowess and presence is deeply felt in Ninja Gaiden 4. This gives me the vibe of, well, the main character overall just gives me the vibe of Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 2, down to his voice. His voice actually sounds very much like Raiden's. I need to look up the voice actor. I don't think it's the same voice actor, but it'd be funny if it was. No, if it was the same voice actor, I'd recognize. It's not the same voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, a more apt comparison is Nero from Devil May Cry 4. Because in Devil
Oh.
May Cry 4, of course, Nero takes over as the main protagonist, but Dante appears in that game as an antagonist, the same way that, based on the trailer, it seems like Ryu will be an antagonist to Yakumo, but he'll also be playable, and Dante was also playable for um, portions of Devil May Cry 4. So I wonder if they are actively taking inspiration from Devil May Cry 4 in that sense. So we also see a lot of platforming via swinging on wires and grinding on rails. And
Mm-hmm.
these sections remind me of Ghost Runner, the first person high speed action platformer. And I hope that is exactly like that. I played the demo for Ghost Runner 2, and I need to honestly just play the full game eventually. And it was real fun. And if the platforming sections of Ninja Gaiden are like that,
Mm-hmm.
the platform is going to be real fun in this game. In the showcase, the devs mentioned that there will be a lot of verticality, so it seems like they want to seamlessly combine the action and the platforming. Because being a ninja and wall running and doing I forget what they do. I forget the name was, but the jumping between walls is like a big part of the platforming in the first and second games, or all three of those games really. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So something we see a lot in the trailer's combat is Yakumo extending the length of his blade. And according to the blog, this is called Yakumo's Blood Raven form. Nakao describes this as a technique that manipulates the blood of oneself and enemies, transforming it into a massive weapon capable of slicing through multiple foes at once. He elaborated,
Ooh.
yeah, he elaborated further on this edition. Excuse me. He elaborated further on how this edition expands upon the series' traditional gameplay. At one point, we see him use it in an identical fashion to Wukong's staff in Black Myth Wukong, where he lets um, the lengthening of the blade push him into the air to dodge an attack, and
Mm-hmm.
then flips the blade around and crashes it down on an enemy. And that was always the coolest looking move in Black Myth Wukong to me. But I ultimately didn't play that game, so I'm glad it's finally going to be used in a game that I'll play.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, from the blog, Nakao says one of the key differences between Modern action games and Ninja Gaiden lies in the sense of fairness when confronting enemies. Enemies are designed to be masters of defense and experts of unrelenting aggression. But players never
Mm-hmm.
feel they're at an unfair disadvantage. There's a sense of balance that's been passed down through the series, transcending current day trends. You absolutely love to hear it. Just straight up calling out the fact that the action genre has shifted to being Souls likes, and that with this game they plan on bringing back that old school style of Ninja Gaiden hack and slash gameplay where you're fighting multiple enemies, but it's not like you will get destroyed very fast because the game is meant to be like just brutally hard. But instead, you'll
Right.
be the difficulty comes from just the numbers really, and the fact that you know this is a fast paced action game. You gotta have good reflexes. And I saw somebody describe it in a way to where like reflexes in terms of like dodging and parrying is important to like Souls games. But like you can figure out patterns of bosses, and that's how you defeat them. And you combine that with all your reflexes on that. Whereas in games like Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry, you can figure out the pattern, but ultimately the enemies move way too fast for you to really take advantage of it. So you just got to be good. You just got to get good at the game. It's almost like a fighting game in comparison. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like yeah, you love to hear it. Him just straight up calling out Souls games, not saying not in a negative way, but just saying they're different, and we're not going to be like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Fun. It's refreshing.
yes, very refreshing. Um, but they also announced and shadow dropped, or more aptly, Azuna dropped Ninja Gaiden 2 Black on the same day they made
Mm.
this announcement. The definitive edition of Ninja Gaiden 2 that combines the best elements of the original 360 Ninja Gaiden with the Sigma 2 version on PS3, which is the version I grew up playing. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is my favorite Ninja Gaiden and one of
Mm.
my top 10 games of all time.
Oh
And it's been
wow.
remastered to look like a modern game for modern consoles. And it's on Game Pass, and that's the way I'm playing it. But I hope that they're going to release a physical version because I want to buy it physically. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to do the same for Ninja Gaiden 4. Buy that physically because
Real.
I love these games. And it's currently available on PlayStation 5, Xbox, of course, and PC for $50. Which
Ooh.
so honestly, this is more like Ninja Gaiden Black Magic because how does it look this good? It's
Mm.
insane how good it looks. Like I've never seen a remaster look like this before. Like this honestly
Yeah.
sets a new and very unrealistic standard for me because it looks like it was made yesterday because technically it was. But like I mean like it plays the exact same. It plays no different than it did
Oh
before.
wow.
But it looks like a modern game. And I don't know how they did that. This year marks the 30th anniversary for Team Ninja, and I'm happy they made it here so that they can make these games.
Mm.
So Ninja Gaiden 4 could change the action game landscape. The
Hope
the
so.
the Souls-like genre has taken over the action games to the point that even the most Devil May Cry looking games like Stellar Blade, when you actually sit down and play them, they turn out to actually be Souls games in disguise. Um, and that style of gameplay has just never been for me. My hope is that
Yeah.
the original hard as hell action franchise, Ninja Gaiden, can pull in Souls fans and mark a resurgence of true blue hack and slashes.
Mm-hmm.
This is in no way meant to like put the genre of Souls likes down or pit them against each other, but instead to hope that
Right.
they'll stand on equal footing again.